Hi friends. Okay, welcome to my channel and what's gonna be a little bit of a different video. We're also gonna be like filming this a little weirdly, but I just came back from 4 days on the beach and I mean, I'd like to think I look a little tan. I'm also like extremely sunburned and oh, my skin is in a terrible spot right now. But I basically just spent 4 days on the beach, not doing a whole lot aside from reading. And we're today just gonna go over everything that I read. I really intended to fully vlog this vacation, but you know, when you're there, when you're laying on the beach, when you don't want to do anything, I didn't really want to actually like speak to the camera. So I filmed b-roll. I did film b-roll. I filmed some things as we were going through our days, and that will be shared. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna be speaking here and I'm gonna break down day by day kind of what we did and what I read each day. So I did take notes for myself because I figured if I wasn't going to like actually talk to the camera, let's have something to talk about today. So welcome to the channel. We do lots of bookish stuff here and let's just get into this. Let's get into everything I read while I was on the beach for 4 days, and hopefully this will be a bit of a fun video. So day one, this was our first day getting to Cuba and kind of the day where we got accustomed to everything to do with resort life, because this was the first time my husband and I have been to an all-inclusive. And coming from Canada, where currently, I mean like in between the day that we left, I guess the day after we left, we got like 30 centimeters of snow. So it was very, very nice getting away from that. But a lot of today was just kind of lounging around, you know, jumping in and out of the pool and exploring this resort that we're staying at. We did also go for lunch at this like beautiful beachside restaurant, and my husband, like, he's really, really big on seafood, so he got like apparently the best lobster he's ever had. And this day I got 39% into The Undermining of Frank and Twyla, which I'm not going to talk too much about here. We will talk about it on the day that I actually finished it. But I also finished the book Babylonia, and this one, it was on my 25 to read in 2025, so that was kind of like my main reason that I really wanted to read this one. But also it I put it on there because I've read one book from this author before and can't remember the exact name of it, but I did really enjoy that one and wanted to give this one a try. But I don't know what it was, but I found this book like a little bit lacking. I don't know if I'm necessarily like not super familiar. I'm not familiar at all about the mythology, because this one is a like mythological retelling. A lot of like, it's kind of in line with a lot of like the Greek retellings that have been happening lately, but this one is specifically to like telling the tale of a Mesopotamian woman and her rise to being the queen of this world. It was okay. I just like really wasn't connected to any of the characters and didn't really care as much as I thought I would about this one. Very unfortunately, very unfortunately, because I was going into this with really high expectations, but unfortunately this one was only a 3-star for me. But yeah, that was day one. I'm really already starting to get a sunburn. Can like definitely see it, like my cheeks. What's up? I'm actually like, I'm really enjoying just being like by the beach right now. I think like this breeze is so pretty, and like I kind of like that we can just like walk out onto the water too. So how's your coconut? You enjoying the jelly? What's better, the jelly or the water?
The water.
The water? Yeah, I agree. So current read is Babylonia, which I am, I think just under 50% into it. Just a fantasy book about Mesopotamia, which, I don't know, I'm not really feeling too much about this one. It's just kind of whatever, but I'll update you some more when I actually finish it up. I was like kind of looking for some like, I don't know, chill beach reads, and for some reason like literally all I've been reading is epic fantasy or fantasy romance. So apparently that's just my beach vibe for this week. So we also only decided to do like a 4-day vacation because neither of us have a crazy amount of vacation time at the moment, and work is, at this time of year at least, is so ridiculously insane for me that like taking off a few days alone was like, it probably was a mistake. Like I probably shouldn't have done it just based on how many meals I've come back to, but it was really nice to get away from the world and the snow. So day 2, didn't read a crazy amount. This was the day that we did a huge excursion, so we ended up spending, it was about 8 hours on a boat, and and this is 100% the reason why I am burnt like a crisp at the moment. But we did this thing. I actually like filmed almost nothing from this one, but we were on a catamaran all day and there was a few different events. So we at first had this dolphin experience where we were able to like interact and play with these dolphins, and it was really interesting. It was really, really fun. Never done anything like that before. Probably never will again. And it was just one of those things that we like threw in because we've never kind of thought we'd have that opportunity. And then the other things that I filmed nothing of, we went snorkeling and it was so much fun. I absolutely was obsessed. Like we saw a little shark, we saw so many fish. It was so cool and I had an absolute blast. We also like went after the snorkeling, we went to like the sandbar or sandbank. I don't know what they're called, but we spent like an hour just floating out in the water and drinking beer. It was lovely. And that is 100% where I got sunburned, because also my husband thought he forgot our sunscreen, but it turns out it was just in the bottom of his bag. So we did not reapply like at all that day because we thought we didn't have any, which is great. So didn't do a lot of reading until we came back. I think we got back to the resort around like 5 p.m. We were tired. We just spent like a little bit of time hanging out, but I did end up reading 52% of The Underbinding of Frank and Twyla. Again, I'll talk about that when I'm done. And I got 43% into January's by Olivia Blake, which is a short story collection. And I will also talk more about that for the next day. Day 3, we started off by going to like a little local market and buying a bunch of souvenirs and stuff and like gifts for friends. Just like cute little things that I love to collect. Like I like getting earrings every time I go to like a little place, and we like getting like little knickknacks for the house. Like just things I can put on the bookshelf, things I can put in different shelves. I get really excited by buying stuff like that. So that was kind of our morning, and then the afternoon we did basically just read by the pool the entire day. I will say also we started because my husband and I are both training for triathlon right now. We were really strict about doing swimming drills like every day while we were in the pool, which I think was the best thing we could ever do because it kind of like improved our swimming. I'd say it would take like a few weeks here in Canada to get our swimming improved the way that it did in Cuba, just because we had so many opportunities every day to like really work on breathing, work on these exercises, just work on getting comfortable in the water. And that more than anything else, I think was like the best thing that we could ever done for ourselves. So that's also like a huge thing that we were really focusing on there, and it was great. So I finished 2 books this day. I finished January's by Olivia Blake, and oh man, this reminded me why I am such a huge fan of hers. I think I was feeling like a little not as in love because I most recently read, what was it? The Atlas Complex, the final book in the Atlas 6 series, and that one was terrible. I think that was like terribly written, and it kind of made me feel a little disenchanted with her. But then this 100% reminded me why I fucking love her stuff. I think she does like the most beautiful writing, and she just does this magical realism and magical worlds so well, and just like haunting writing. And I need that sometimes, because they were all short stories about love, about betrayals, about just magical things, and they were beautiful. I think overall there were 2 short stories in this collection that I didn't love. Every other one of them I would say was a 5-star. So yeah, like I gave the actual collection 5 stars, and I'm a little shocked because the average rating on Goodreads is like so low compared to what I would think. But yeah, this was just like a beautiful collection of short like romantic stories, and just dealing a lot of like different interesting magic things that are really interesting to be explored in this type of way. And that's something I love. I love seeing like weird, well, I guess it's why I love short story collections. It's just like these weird little things being explored in ways that maybe like really don't make sense for a full book, but just really interesting ideas. And yeah, loved it. Then finished Underbinding of Frank and Twyla. So this is a sequel to The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. We're in this interesting world where there's portals, like a magical weird world, but there's portals to this other like dimension. It's kind of like the god's world. And in the first book, they were haunted by like ghoul-like creatures. Then something happened. They managed to solve the problem that was there, but there's still all of these like not called sheriffs, but there's people who work as guides to go into this realm. Primarily in the first book, they were there to like fight off any of these ghouls if people are going to that realm. But now they still exist kind of just to like bring people in, if they want to explore, if they want to visit, and just kind of, keep people safe. But like the danger is really past ever since these like ghoul-like creatures have we are following Frank and Twyla. They are best friends. They are partners. They're both in their 50s, which I love. I love romances with older main characters. And they have been basically, well, both of them are single. Twyla's husband passed away. Frank's wife left him. They've been both alone for about 10 years. And Frank basically approached Twyla to come and work as one of these guardians just because, you know, just to give her something to do. Because she is, was basically just like a housewife taking care of her family. But at that point, her kids had kind of like started to grow up and leave the house. And while exploring this world, they come across like a new magical creature. And that really like kind of sets everything into motion. And we are following them as they really like get into this conspiracy about where these creatures came from, how to protect them, and what's happening for it, because like somebody seems to be targeting them about over these creatures. But at the same time, they just had the cutest romance. Like, I love this idea of, you know, you can find love at any age. And in particular in this one, Twyla, like her first marriage was very much like she describes herself as a chair, and that her husband she was just there, and she was her husband's servant basically, because he never actually appreciated her for a person. He just always kind of expected her to be there and to do whatever needed to be done. But she has always, like, she wants to be appreciated. She wants to be treated like something cherished and like somebody's everything. And that is just kind of like her journey, is that she really, really wants to find that. And Frank might just happen to feel exactly that way for her. So it was cute. I love this one. Gave it 4 stars. I thought it was just like the cutest romance ever. And add in a fun magical world. I think I'm actually going to buy a special edition of this one because Fairy Loot has one, so might do that.
Feeling lonely, but it's someone loving you. When I see the rain, I feel like to believe that.
And then on day 4, the final day, first off, I'll say I read 40% of Rejected, which is a very fun fantasy romance that is like a shifter and a shadow beast. And she is part of this pack where she really doesn't fit in because her father, many, many years before, had tried to fight the alpha for the dominant spot. He died, and since then her family has been shunned. And in this world, on your 22nd birthday, you shift into a wolf for the first time. And typically, once you shift, your wolf will recognize their mate. So she shifts and recognizes her mate as the alpha son, and he immediately rejects her. She is really upset about this. She also doesn't fit in with this pack and has tried to escape many times but never really gotten away. And after getting rejected, she kind of like puts a plea out into the world to the Shadow Beast, who is this magical creature who's known to like have created the shifters. And basically he's like their god. Lo and behold, he comes and rescues her and takes her into his dimension, which is basically this like magical sprawling library that has portals to every dimension in the world, and he's the guardian of this library. And won't say too much more. I have since finished it, but really, really enjoyed this one, and I did only get like 40% into it that day. But then what I did finish, I read the entire Scythe book. No, I read the first book in the Scythe trilogy. Wow. Anyways, this was, I do have it somewhere on my shelf. I read it digitally, but it is one that I'd read years ago and then never continued on series, and really wanted to get to again, especially because I own it. So, you know, why not try to read it again? But it's this really interesting world where humanity has basically progressed to the point where natural death no longer occurs. So people have like become, or technology has created like nanites that go into people's bloodstream and are able to repair basically any wound, repair any signs of aging, and people can live basically indefinitely. So in order to basically combat overpopulation, but also like enable death to take place and to make it so that there's not like a limitless life for everyone, there are scythes in this world who are basically tasked with killing people. And we are following one scythe and his 2 apprentices, and we're learning a bit about the world. So it's a really, really interesting utopian world, because in theory, this sounds like it should be basically perfect. We're following a world without death, but at the same time, there's a very, very corrupt system within the scythedom, and a lot of them have different views on how people should die. Like, there's one guy who thinks that, you know, why not do mass murders? Why not, like, people used to die in plane crashes, so why not go on a plane and murder everyone as violently as possible? Whereas somebody else might look and be like, okay, I'm gonna walk through a crowd and see if I can sense somebody who has like a weary soul and feels ready to move on. And yeah, we're just following 2 apprentices as battles they're battling because this rule has come out that this man wasn't technically allowed to have 2 apprentices. So they want them at the end to compete for which one will be the scythe, and whoever wins has to kill the other. And it was great. I gave it 5 stars this time around. First time I gave it 4. This time I went in with like definitely appreciated it a bit more, and yeah, gave it 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. So that was today's super quick video of everything I read on vacation. And yeah, I read pretty decent amount of books, really enjoyed like pretty much all of them, and it was great. It was great. I just loved laying on a beach and doing nothing else. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I know it was short, it was kind of weird, but whatever. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully I will see you in a video soon. Bye.